can you see this person's perspective, but can you see beyond this barrier that is in front of you right now? And we do get to that place of gratitude and actually appreciation. Now, it takes us refusing to stay in a victim mindset in order to do that.
No victims and no walls.
No victims. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm Devon O'Day.
Teri Pugh.
Oh,
Live
I'm so
from
glad.
Nashville, Tennessee. What's that?
We are here. I'm so glad that you're here.
Me
This
too.
time
I'm
of
glad
year,
you're here.
I need you on speed dial this time of year. Crazy.
Not the speed dial.
Let's talk first before we get good and started. Let's talk about our Reboot Bootcamp. I got everything written up. Now, nobody can see all the details of this, but we can send it to you if you message us. You can just send me an email at devonoday@gmail.com, and I can send you this flyer to tell you about our Reboot Bootcamp. January the 8th, we're going to be having it at Teri's office in Nashville. It's 1 day, 5 hours, but that includes breaks, and bring a brown bag lunch and a shareable. And we are going to have a time to lean in and to kind of reset our year.
Absolutely. And it's going to be so much fun.
It is going to be fun.
And it's going to be insightful. I love facilitating workshops. There's nothing better that, well, I love one-on-one client work too, but I love the energy that comes with facilitating a workshop because it's connecting dots for people, building community, and also there's just so much yummy information shared and aha moments.
You're going to get a journal, you're going to get a pen, because you're going to be writing in that journal, and we're going to have all sorts of snacks provided because that's what we do. But the cool thing is that I think that a lot of people are looking for a special Christmas gift to give someone. This is limited, very limited. I think there's 4 seats left. So if you can get in under the wire, do so. It's going to be a small group, because small groups, you can get a lot done.
Well, small groups are easily, there's a lot of intimacy and a lot of shared information in a small group. And so people can oftentimes feel more willing to be vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And not that we're going to be diving off the deep end in the vulnerability pool, but some people socially don't jive with big, large crowds of people. And it's just easier to connect with people when there's less energy, distraction, all that jazz. So typically, historically, what's that?
Yeah, and we're not going to stream this either. So that's the other thing, is don't feel like all your stuff's going to be out there for the Facebook Live audience to see. No, Teri and I do that every week with each other. We'll put our stuff out there, but we're not going to make you vulnerable like that.
Yeah, no, it's going to be really fun. And like I said, informative and insightful, and everybody gets to come hang out at my office in the lobby for a day. So that's fun and exciting.
It is fun and exciting. Well, let's dive into our wall. Before we get into our wall conversation, good morning, D. Scott Miller. Hey, how are you doing?
Hey there.
Good morning, Elizabeth. We love Elizabeth.
Hey, Elizabeth.
We go see her on January the 8th.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
It's all about it. I don't know. Elizabeth, I think, is traveling this week. She's going to the Great North.
Oh, yeah.
I know. It is a Christmas card where she's from all the time. Today, joining you from a rest area in Illinois. Oh, how sweet is that? She stopped off at a rest area to join us live. I am so excited that you're here, Elizabeth. Your energy and what you bring, Elizabeth, you're part of the deal. It should be launch date with Devon, Teri, and Elizabeth. Today, what's your wall? And Teri sent this to me this morning, and I just jumped at the chance, what's your wall? Do you want to set it up for us?
Sure. As with most things, I was walking in this morning to the office to see some clients, and I thought, well, what are Devon and I going to talk about today? We don't even know. We hadn't talked about it, but you know what? It'll come to us. And about the time I put the key in the door, it dropped in on me. What's your wall? And I thought, ooh, what's your wall? Because we all have a wall, whether it's a person, a place, a thing, an experience, a memory, a goal. We all have that thing that feels too wide to see around, too tall to see over. And we don't quite know, we don't want to scale it and be on the other side of it, but we might not have the tools or the insight or even the energy to even go up and see if we can tap it and knock it over, or if it's concrete and it's there. So that's what's your wall. We've all got a wall. So I'd love for the folks that are listening in to share, if they're comfortable, because you and I are going to be sharing what our walls are and how to work through those things.
Elizabeth says she's headed to Minnesota. That's where she is headed to.
Girl,
Minnesota. Christmas card all the time.
Sidebar, real quick. I'm going to do a real quick sidebar. My first husband, yes, I've had more than one, was from Minnesota. And I made that trek with him one December. And I swore I would never do it again because they were in Alexandria, Minnesota. And I know that the hairs in my nose froze. And I'm pretty sure my eyeballs just froze solid. And they were like, let's go ice fishing. And I was like, I am from the South. Who in their right mind is going to go out on a lake, on a moped or whatever those things are, sleddy thing? What if that water cracks? I said, no, that's a postcard. I'm glad Elizabeth's going because she is probably acclimated to that weather. But girl, it's going to be 74 here on Christmas Day.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy?
It's bizarre.
Well, my wall, now we're going to go into the wall situation. And I thought about walls. And one of the things that I do is I procrastinate.
Okay.
And I procrastinate, and I would say that is my wall, but I think that's what I do because of my wall. I procrastinate. That's not the wall is not procrastination. The wall is why I procrastinate.
The wall is your sort of a pass. The wall gets to be the thing that you do so that you don't, or the procrastination gets to be the thing that you do so that you don't have to walk up to the wall.
Exactly. Stuff that I'm afraid, and I have fears and I have worries and I have a past that has memories that pop up. And then I put off the things every time that little memory pops up. And so my reset, and the reason that I'm doing this whole workshop is that I can stop procrastinating because I'm afraid. And I'm afraid because things that have happened in my past are indelible memories. And do you know, even Sharpie wipes off with the right thing. You know, whether you need some fingernail polish remover or whatever it is, even indelible marks, even tattoos can be removed.
There's not a lot in our waking life that when we are truly committed to an end task that we cannot achieve if it is a realistic goal for ourselves. There's going to be, I when I say that sometimes to clients, they're like, well, I'm never going to be an astronaut. And I'm like, well, do you want to be an astronaut? Well, no, not really. And I'm like, well, then why are we even talking about that? Right? That's not your wall. So, it's looking and getting clear about the things that what's holding you back. Because I can tell you right now, and I've told myself this 100 times in my life, and I've told clients this, what holds us back is our own self-perceived limitations. Nobody else. Now, we're not talking about social structures where government, things like that, you know, and work jobs and all that.
Right.
So we're not talking about that kind of stuff. I'm talking about interpersonal or personal experiences where we're like, well, I'll just never get that job because I'm just not good enough. That has nothing to do with anyone but you.
Right. One of the walls that I find for myself is I suffer from immense stage fright. Now, oddly enough, I chose to do this for a living, but my wall is when I go out and play live, and I'm scared to death when I'm a songwriter. I love it. I you know, it's so crazy because I worked my entire tuition for college was paid on a vocal scholarship. I was a singer and I didn't have any problem. I didn't even have stage fright then. But I moved to Nashville and I let people in Nashville who were got in my head. There were certain people from past relationships, whatever, that would denigrate me and go, well, you're not very good. You know, you're not good on Nashville standards or whatever that was, got in my head. So now, even after those people are no longer in my life, I hear them in my head. That's my wall. And so now, thank you to my dear friend Ken Harrell, who started inviting me to sing on Writers' Nights with him. I've started getting back out. And thank you to Debbie Champion at the Vanderbilt Commodore. I've got 2 Writers' Nights scheduled in January. Isn't that crazy?
No, it's beautiful.
And as scared as I am, and I might make a big old fool of myself. And you know what happens when you make a fool of yourself? Nothing. Nothing. The world does not end. Nothing opens up and says, oh my gosh, you're none of that happens. We are okay.
Well, the other part of that is defining what is a fool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If I make a mistake, guess what? I have identified with everybody out there. And somebody came up to me after a particularly insecure moment on stage. And I did a song that was brand new. I had never done it before. And my fingers did not work on the guitar neck, whatever. And afterward, he said, you know, you've had #1 songs and you got up there and did a brand new song and you were just like me. And I said, you know what? That's why I did that. I want you to know that you can have a #1 song. And the difference between someone with a #1 song and someone who's never had a song cut is only lightning in a bottle. You can't explain why and how and all of that. We're all the same. We're all exactly the same. We're all vulnerable getting out in front of people doing something we've never done before. And thank you, Elizabeth. Good for me. Thank you. But Elizabeth also said my wall is letting people into to my fears and insecurities of today. I can talk about my past and my history fairly easy. Oh, that's good.
Absolutely. And our walls can be anything. They truly can be anything. For some people, it's eating. For some people, it's smoking. For some people, it's, you know, a history with drinking. For some people, it's writing a book. For some people, it's a job. For some people, it's getting in a relationship or getting out of one. You know, there's so many things out there that can gain momentum because and I'll say our past life, in a past life, that part of us was dinged with whatever that hurt or that pain or that doubt or that, you know, if we were bottle fed, you know, you're never going to be good enough. All of that stuff plays into it. But I can assure you, any wall that is put up, especially one that's not yours, can be taken down. And our own walls that we construct can be taken down. We just have to be courageous enough to know that we are, and I'm going to use this phrase, I'm not a fan of it, but just for argument's sake, good enough to be on the other side of that wall. We are deserving of that happiness, that joy, that
Amen.
peace of mind, that contentment, that clarity. We're deserving of all of that. You said something just a second ago, Devon. You said, isn't it interesting that you chose this career? I would argue that you didn't really choose this career. It's your calling. You were born to do exactly what you do, and you are great at it. So
thank you.
You just send those little negative ninjas my way, and I'll kick their ass for you, because I don't buy that for 1 minute. I don't buy it for 1 minute. And we know those little negative ninjas, right? They're quick. They're like, they're quick, and we don't.
And
see
don't
them
even
coming.
realize. We don't even realize that we use that terminology. I didn't even realize it till you just said it.
Mm-hmm. I dropped out of college the first time because I was terrified of public speaking. Hello. I went on
and then doing TED Talk. Yeah.
Right. And you know what my biggest fear about the TED Talk was? That I was going to forget it. I was going to forget my talk. I was terrified I was going to forget my talk because you have to memorize it. And the guy was micing me up, and I was ready to walk out on stage, and I was saying it in my head, and I knew it, and I was ready, and I was confident in everything. And he looked at me as he was micing me up and made a joke and said, let's just hope you don't forget it. And I immediately was triggered. And I walked out there and I said the first few words or the first minute or two. And then you know what? My biggest fear happened. I forgot my talk. But what happened in place of that, I opened my mouth and I was guided to share so much more than I actually had in my talk. And then somehow or another, as always, divinely guided, the words all connected where my talk was, and I finished the talk out. And I could easily walked off that stage and said, oh my God, that was the biggest mistake ever. Or, oh no, what in the world?
But it's brilliant.
You know what? That was
TED
the
Talk's
best
brilliant
thing ever.
Uh-huh.
And my first thought leaving the stage was, gosh, I'd do that again right now. So our walls are, sometimes they look, clouds look really solid, but we can walk right through them. We can do the same thing to our walls, and we don't have to push and fight. We can create that flexibility and mobility to dissolve those things, those fears, that attachment to that past experience that keeps us locked in. And all of a sudden I feel like I'm some kind of preacher on a soapbox on TV or something. So I'm going to shut down for a minute and let you talk.
No, I love that. That's brilliant. You're getting everybody talking. I mean, on here, Tim, welcome. Elizabeth. Hey, Tim. I also have a wall with my weight. Okay. That's okay. You're in a family hood right now with that. A piece of me is afraid to lose it. In my mind, if I do lose it, an ex will take me back. That is some deep work right there, girls. Soul work. I know that's not true, but don't want to feel it when he doesn't. Does that make sense? Oh, Teri, I know you're going to have some stuff.
Yep. Yeah. So that puts ourselves in that place. So if I'm hearing that correctly, Elizabeth, the weight is, you got an attachment to the weight, because if you lose the weight, an ex might take back. Is that what I heard? And what happens if, okay, and I don't have my glasses on, so I'll put my eyeballs on real quick. I don't want to feel it when he, yes, it does make sense. But here's the thing. We're not, our weight, our identity, all of that is, we don't trim ourselves down physically, like literally or figuratively, so that we make ourselves good enough for someone else, because we're good enough just as we are. The weight comes on allowing ourselves, when we start shedding the pounds, we start shedding the part of the pain, the protection. I call that our armor. There's a lot
yes.
There's a lot of people out there in the world that walk around with extra layers of protection. And the funny thing about that is, for some people, and I typically with clients, and you guys have probably picked up on this, I use the word we a lot because I include myself in the group of all of us as humans. And so one of the things that'll happen when we're walking around with this extra layers on us, we're terrified to let it go because we might be seen, right? But what we don't realize is that in an attempt not to be seen, not to be rejected, not to be judged, we make ourselves larger and larger and larger. So it's unavoidable. And then who does the judging? It's not other people doing the judging. It's us doing the judging.
Yeah.
You know, and then we get into the whole thing about the chemical compound or chemical components of the brain and the dopamine and all that. And that's a whole nother part to eating, not eating, smoking, not smoking, drinking, not drinking, but they all play in there. So yes, Elizabeth, all that makes complete sense.
Yeah. And she says, we'll never get back together. Not a possibility, but I blame my weight because it feels safe. Oh, okay. Okay. I gotcha. Well, that makes total sense.
The weight,
go ahead.
The weight is safe because without the weight, then that, you know, losing, whether it's the job, you know, and I'm going to say the weight because we're talking about weight, but it can be a job. It can be an income. It can be a car. It can be whatever it is. When we shed those things, then we're exposed and we're vulnerable, which is something Elizabeth said earlier, that ability to become vulnerable and open. And it's like we start to feel lighter. And because we're so, it's kind of like, imagine walking around with a king size weighted blanket just wrapped around your body for the majority of your life. And then one day you get up and you just drop that blanket. Yes, you feel lighter and you might feel freer, but you're also going to feel a little exposed and a little cold and like, woo, what is happening? So that's an adjustment that we have to go through.
I know that weight for me and Teri and I mean, we're just going to be very vulnerable here. Teri and I have talked about this. And for me, being sexually assaulted at age 19, I wanted to keep everything at a bare. I didn't want to be seen as someone who could be that vulnerable ever again, or someone that so it was my armor. It was my protection. It was whatever. And so there's a lot of that that's an obstacle for me. Let's talk about another obstacle. And I'll put this out there to be very vulnerable. When I was in, I guess, 6, 7, 8 years old, I was a baton twirler. I was the majorette, and we had our little majorette recitals. And I walked out in the middle of that. Elizabeth said, I get you, Devon. Yeah. I walked out on stage in that little recital, and I had on white leotards, and I had red, it was Christmas, red velvet little outfit that my mother had sewn with little sequins on it. It was so cute. And when I got nervous, I'm like a Cocker Spaniel. I just peed a little puddle. I did right out there, and I was the only one. And we finished, and I had little red stains from it went right down those red leotards. And I just peed right there. And do you know that that's part of my wall for getting on stage, is that I always think I'm going to be that Cocker Spaniel little kid, because everybody turned around and made fun of me, and they looked, and it was just the most horrible experience. And to this day, I have problems. I have to pee I go on stage, and it hits me. And so I've talked with Teri about this. I said, I just got me some Depends, and people don't even have to worry about it. So even if I pee, I might be sitting right there with my bar diapers on, and nobody even knows, and nobody has to know. But I'm just telling you right now, don't let anything be an obstacle, because Teri told me about someone in her life that was not going to go on a trip because she dealt with the nervous urination. She said, I can't do it. I'm not going to go. I'm just not going to go. And what did you tell her?
I told her to get some Depends and stamp that damn passport. I mean, Are you kidding?
Yes, I know.
Some depends and go.
You know, I have a friend that we talk about it all.
You know, that's a whole nother follow-up. What's that?
I had a friend, I the same thing. I told her, I said, you're not letting yourself do things because you're worried about, you know, being incontinent or whatever. I said, don't let that stop you from whatever it is you're doing. I said, there are things that you can do. Now they have so many products. I said, they even have sexy Depends now. My goodness.
Well, and here's the other part of that. What we focus on, we attract, right? So the whole law of attraction thing. I mean, yes, you might have a bladder that's overactive and you tinkle a little bit, or maybe you get up and walk across the room and it runs down your leg, whatever. Put you some Depends on and keep on going, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you constantly worry about those things, but you don't do anything to rectify it, like talk to your doctor or change your diet or do Kegels or get your Depends, but you talk about it all the time because it's a hindrance, then allowing yourself to have fun and experience in your life is your wall. And we focus on, well, I can't do that because if I do that, I might have a problem, or I might have or people holiday seasons when people are like, oh, well, I can't go to that party because they'll be drinking, or oh, I can't go to that party because there'll be food. So there's always, and it's how we prepare for those things, because it's life, right, and it's life unfolding, and it's how we prepare for it. So if we become recluses and we don't do anything, then we're not really living. We're just sort of going through the motions.
Giving a shout out to my friend James, who just joined us. Hey, James. Hey, James. Tim said, Devon, oh my God, I love it. I have been there more ways than one. Amen. Depends work. See, there you go. And it's just like Elizabeth said, we are never alone. If we open it up and we're honest about it, then all of a sudden people go, really? When I've got on stage, Lord, today I get so nervous and have to pee before getting on stage. Marcia and I both have laughed about me having to pee before I start to dance. Yes. There are things that we don't even realize that we have in common, but we are here to blow the whistle on the walls. And it might be something as simple as getting the right undergarments. It might be something as difficult as having to face a demon and literally fight them right face to face. But otherwise, we're going to get through those walls. And that's what our January 8th Reboot Bootcamp is all about. We got it. And if you need me to send you some information about it, I can. DevonO'Day@gmail.com. Drop me a line and I will send you that, because we are coming down to the wire, and it's a great Christmas gift for someone that can meet you in Nashville if you want to do it as a team effort. But I think there's 4 slots left. So get in on that, and we're going to be part of it. And January 8th is when we're doing it. We might even sing an Elvis song. I'll bring my guitar, because it'll be Elvis's birthday.
There you go. Bring your guitar. And I'll promise to sing. I might carry that tune into a bucket right in here. But yeah, I had somebody the other day say, well, I just can't sing. And another client said, well, I can't dance. And I was like, well, by whose definition are you comparing yourself to? Because if you tell me you can't dance, and I don't care if you're confined to a wheelchair, you can dance. If you're in a hospital bed, you can dance. It's called movement, right? So
yeah. James Napier who is watching right now. James, he will second that, because he lost his leg, and he's everywhere. And he always says, one of these days you're going to dance with a one-legged man. That's what he texted me. Love it. Love it. Tim says, sing me some Love Me Tender. And we might even write a song as one of the things that we're doing in the Reboot Bootcamp. I think that might be something very cool. Do a group effort and write a group song together. And I cannot wait to see you guys. That's our show for today. And if you need to leave a message for me, DevonO'Day@gmail.com. And Teri, tell them how they can get in touch with you. The start of the new year is a great.
TeriPugh.com. How about that? Or on social media. they can DM me there. So
Elizabeth, thank you always for being such an active part of our show, and to Tim and to James and to Ross Fiction, who joined us today, and to D. Scott Miller. You guys are all part of what we do every day. Thank you for sharing. And Elizabeth, stay very safe on your trip to the Great White North of Minnesota.
That's right. And I do want to give a shout out to Flo Flamingo, who has been a listener of ours from Spain. They're actually traveling to the States for the holidays. So they're in transit right now, coming to the United States from Spain. So yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Well, if you watch on the replay, do a hashtag that you're watching on the replay. We love to reach out to you.
Look at you all hot and trendy. Hashtag. Devon said do a hashtag. Hey,
yeah. Hashtag launch date. And we'll see you on January the 8th. Hey, we're going to still now, this is how planned we are. Hey, do you want to do a live launch date next week, or do you want me to do a replay, Teri?
What is next week?
Isn't it like the week after Christmas? Are you taking that week off?
Yeah, it is the week after Christmas.
You know, some people take that week off.
It was something happening. No, we can do a live if you want to do a live. Okay. Sorry, guys, we're just bringing y'all all right behind the curtain right now.
So if y'all want to join us, we're gonna be here. People go, what are you doing for Christmas? I said, same thing I do every day: feeding animals at Angel Horse Farm. I'll have my mutton boots on. Right. December 28th, Elizabeth says. So yes, we will be here and we will be live. And y'all are just the best. We love y'all. Y'all are our community. And I think we might need to start a private group just for the craziness that we get into in here and do that. But we'll do that at the first of the year. We'll have all sorts of things that we're going to start launching with launch date, expanding our horizons. Thank you guys for being here.
And I think too, well, I'm going to throw this out there super quick. I think too, we need to do a follow-up workshop at some point on aging, the beauty of it, because we can just go all over the place with that. Loving our body and our mind as it ages.
Yep. You are so true.
Wrinkles, gray hair, and depends and all. Let's just.
That's right.
You guys, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hi, Paul from Virginia. Paul, Virginia. Just
stay there. Thanks so much for joining us today. Happy holidays to all of you. We'll see you next Wednesday. And until then, increase your peace.